let me start by showing you the stamp set that we were using this morning. So it's this one here called Botanical Bliss, and it consists of a mix really of single images. So we have this open flower here, which is perfect for colouring in either with markers or with stamping embossing or colouring in with blends. We have these two detailed floral stamps. Both of those can be used either in a single colour or by using the marker pens in multiple colours. We then have this pretty little mandala symbol down here. We have a bird, which can really be whatever bird you want it. If you did it in a brown, you'd have a thrush. If you did it brown black, you'd have a blackbird. You could make it almost into anything you wanted. And then we have this floral spray across the top. That's quite a useful one, especially if you need to fill in the sides or the bottom or the corner of a card. And then we have 5 sentiments really. So we have happy birthday, especially for you, friend, best wishes, and then we have to and from, which come together really to make perfect tag or to pop onto an envelope. So let me show you what we created. I'll just move that out of the way. So there's a mix of styles here. So this one here consists of the floral image going across the top, and I've stamped that flower using the marker pens. So I've used a blue pen on the top and then an old olive pen for the greenery. And then this particular sentiment actually comes from Good Morning Magnolia. Now the ladies were very upset this morning because I showed that as a sample, but I tidied the stamp set away, so I didn't have it with me this morning. But the sentiment says, "The journey of life is best shared with a friend. We'll get through this together," which I think is a really nice sentiment and could apply to lots of different people in lots of different circumstances, whether it's health or illness or somebody just having a hard time. But that is that particular design. Similar to that is this one here, but I've used the birds instead of the flowers going across the page itself, and then I've put the sort of branches going across the bottom. This one here we've stamped in the round using the Stamparatus, so I'll show you how we do that. Very quick, very simple, much easier than it looks. You get a really nice shape, and you can see that I've used the pens to colour in the stamps and then stamp that in the round with the Stamparatus. And on a similar note, this one here, so just a change of colours really. I've used a darker green there and rich raspberry for the flowers. And then this one here uses that open flower that I mentioned earlier on from the stamp set, which is this one in here. This one. And I've stamped that in just in the corners, just manually, and then I've used a pen to connect the two flowers up together, so you get quite a nice effect doing it that way. And then I've stamped a thanks in the centre, and that thanks also comes from Good Morning Magnolia. So let me just show you that stamp set and then we'll get cracking. So this is Good Morning Magnolia. Sorry, it's going to try and get that in focus, I know. So it has this stunning big magnolia. It has a smaller magnolia flower head. And then it's got some really nice sentiments as well as this pretty edging. So the sentiments say hello and thanks. And then going on from that, not only for what you do, but for being someone so special. I know quite a few people that would apply to. Enjoy today. The journey of life is best shared with a friend. We'll get through this together. And also that nice thinking of you. So a really nice combination of both stamps, images and sentiments. And of course it has matching dies to go with it and lovely matching papers as well. And some memories and more cards and ribbon. So all sorts of things to go with it. Just to show you two cards that I made using that set with the same design. I wanted to try out the Magnolia for myself. So I stamped that one, as you can see, and just coloured it in with some blend pens, and I just used my light petal pink for a little bit of shading. And then this one here uses that little flourish top and bottom, and then just the sentiment in the middle. Thanks not only for what you do, but for being someone so special. So there's a couple of extra cards there. So let me show you what we got up to and how we made it. So the first one I'm going to do is the stamping in the round design. I'll just get one to show you here, so you can see what we're going to recreate, and that's this one here. There's a really easy way to do it on the Stamparatus without worrying too much about where you put it and how you organise it. So I have my Stamparatus here, and all I would do for this one, where I just want it in 4 corners, is just take my piece of card. So it doesn't matter the size of this piece of card. Place it wherever I want. I would use the grid lines, so I'm using this set of grid lines here. Just popping the magnet on in the centre. And what I want to make sure I do is that I reposition that in that same place, but turning round each time. So what I'm going to do is just take, it could be a marker pen, a blender pen, a biro, it could be anything really. And I'm just going to draw a line. You could do it all the way around, I often do. Whoops, that's a bit far out. But just to show where the edge of that is, that's a little bit too far. It needs to be a bit closer really. And here, very cleverly put the logo in the way. So that means as I turn that round, I know it's going to end up roughly in the same place. Then I'm going to take the stamp that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use that pretty slightly curved floral stamp, which is this one here, and I'm just going to put that across the corner like so. Move that out of the way so you can see it a bit better, and bring the plate down and just pick that up like so. And because I've got the magnet in place, that will keep that nice and ready to go. So I'm going to be using my marker pen. So these are the same as our ink stamp pads. And I'm just going to move this down so you can see hopefully a little bit more detail. I'm sorry if this goes in and out trying to focus. And what I'm going to do is just use the brush end of the marker pen to do the little seed heads and the flower heads. And I've used in this case Gorgeous Grape. Sorry, that doesn't want to, having trouble, isn't it, to, there we go. And then I'm going to use Old Olive and just fill in the leaves. This is because I want it in 2 different colours. If you just wanted it in 1 colour, you could just use your ink pad. There we go. Just doing like that. And I bring this up and over and stamp that. Hopefully that's still in the shot. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just turn this round, still use those markers as my rough guideline, pop my magnet back, and then I don't need to clean the stamp because I'm using the same colours again, but obviously you could change colour. And I'm just going to ink up that flower, little flower head, seed pods, and a bit of old olive for the greenery. There we go. Just popping that in. I've already turned this round, but before you put it down, just make sure you've done that. It's easy to forget. Doesn't really matter what order you do either. You can turn it either way. Put my magnet back on, and I'll just do these last two. So as I say, the little flower heads. There we go. And then the leaves. There we are. 3. And you can see how that's coming together. So the critical thing really is repositioning this so it's in the same place, so you get a nice even balance of stamping. You can do this absolutely manually. I tried it, but it just didn't look very good because I hadn't got it very central on one side, so it was all a bit lopsided, and that's not really the effect I wanted. So just get the right end of the marker pen, and that's that one. There we go. That will do. Okay, just stamp that down. Sorry about my plaster, I managed to cut my finger earlier on. There we go. So there I have my floral going in the round. I can now clean this off. Just using my chamois, they're perfect for that purpose. Okay, just move that out of the way for the minute. Okay, so here's my layer. I'm just going to stamp a sentiment in the middle. I think I'm going to do another thanks, which is this one here. So it will be similar to this one. And I will use, I could use the ink pads. I'm just going to use the pens as they're here. The good thing about the pens, especially if you're a beginner crafter, is you're less likely to get ink all over the stamp. It's very easy when you first start to put too much pressure when you're inking it up. So what I am going to do is just make sure that this stamp's nice and straight. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. It's perfect. Let's see if I can do that again. So what I did was I made sure that when I put it on the block, I used the grid lines of the grid paper to make it nice and straight, so that I knew then if the block was straight, we'd be in business. So fingers crossed I can recreate that. It will be close, hopefully. There we go. So there's my thanks on there, and I'm going to pop this onto one of our new base colours. So this is Purple Posy, a really nice pale purple, so it matches really nicely with our other two purples, which are Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape. So now we've got 3 in the series that work really nicely together. I'm just going to pop that on with some snail. There we go. I could put a layer behind it, but I'm happy with that as it is. It's like that. I could, if I wanted, add a little bit of bling onto that. If I wanted to jazz it up a little bit, I could add some gems. I could add the new peacock gems that we have in different colours. Hi to you, Silla. Nice to have you online with us. just to let you know, Scylla, actually, that your order has arrived today. I have a very large box in my haul, which I've literally just emptied. And there's a nice stack of things for you. So we'll make arrangements to get that to you. So that's that one there, using the Stamparatus and stamping in the round. I'm going to do a similar one, but I'm going to use the line drawing this time round. And I'm just going to hand stamp it. So I have my flower. I saw the photos from the wedding, Scylla. It looked absolutely amazing. I hope the weather was kind to you. It looked nice from what I could see. The photos on Facebook, so I hope it was as good as it looked. You certainly look stunning in your dress. So I'm just using Memento ink onto my open stamp there. I'm going to pop that one in that corner. I'm going to turn it around. I always turn it round so it's in the same way, because if you try and do it sort of cat-handed, you can get it at the wrong angle. So I like to turn my paper around rather than worry too much about the stamp itself, if that makes any sense. I knew what I meant. Okay, there we've got our two flowers, and this time I'm going to draw. So I've just got a pen, and I'm just going to literally take a line from here, so it doesn't really matter, and I'm deliberately doing it squiggly like so. Sorry if that's disappearing in and out. Let's do one along here. And don't be afraid to break it or leave it at a certain point, because you can always add a little bit more in. So I could do it from here, or I could do it from the top one. Like so. And if you're not happy about doing a long line like that, you could do like a dotted line like so, if you prefer. It's just to get, oh bless you, some downpours on the wedding day. That's a shame. But you had a lovely day, that's good. Okay, so I've just done that. As I say, if you're not happy about doing a long line like that, you could just do a broken line. It's just to give a different effect, really. Let me put the top on that ink pad, and I'm just going to use our blends pens for colouring. You could actually use the marker pens, as it's a small area, but I still do like to use the blends pens. So this is Light Daffodil Delight, which I'm just going to use for the centre. I haven't really estimated what worked out what flower this is really. And I'm going to use light purple, actually I'm going to use the darker purple Posy, and just flick this out from the centre a little bit. And do the same around this edge. I've got a day of Facebook Lives, because I'm going live this evening on one of the private demonstrator groups talking about coffee and cards. So I've got my presentation all ready for that, and that's a worldwide one, so looking forward to doing that. Although it's always a bit nerve-wracking when you're just sitting there talking. Somehow it's a lot easier to be crafting and talking, she says. Probably make a mistake now, you watch me. Okay, so this is the edges of the petals, which I've done in the darker colour. I've just done a sort of circle around there, like that, and then I'm going to infill with the lighter one. I'm hoping you can see that okay. Maybe a little bit of the white there, just blend that in a little bit. It does look a little bit more pink than the other one, I have to say. Like so. That will do. And I do need to pick up a green for the leaves. So I haven't got a green blend pen to hand, so I'm just going to use my Stampin' Right marker. So you can mix and match if you just need to be a little bit careful. This is actually, oh, it is Old Olive. It's just quite a new one. Put that in like that, like so. There we go, that will do for my purposes. And then I'm going to stamp a sentiment in the middle. So I do quite like this one. It'll just about make it, won't it? Just about. Hi Helen, thanks for joining us. So we're quite the way through our second card from today's Coffee and Card. So I am just going to stamp this and make sure it's nice and level. Yep, that's fine. So in this case I've used a block, but I have actually put the stamp on the diagonal because I want a bit more space around the stamp. So in this case, when I'm looking up to line up, I'm literally looking at the stamp, not the block. So I'm hoping that that will fit nicely in there. There we go. Just about. Journey of life is best shared with a friend. We'll get through this together. So that is that one there, and I've got a different backing. I quite like that. So that's grey granite that's sitting there, and this one here is the Perfect Posy. I will see actually if I've got a green one that might look better. Let's have a look and see. Then I'll make up my mind. So this is Old Olive. There we go. What do we think? Green, probably. Although I do quite like that. What do you reckon? Any offers? Granite or olive? I can't quite decide. I'm going to go with granite. Just because I can. Okay. Oops. There we go. So I'm going to pop that on there. Make sure I've got the card the right way around. I'm happy with that as its location. So there's that one there. Something I wanted to show you is our new washi tape, because this flower here is actually made with washi tape, and it's one of those things that if you look in the catalogue, A, it's really easy to miss it, and B, if you said washi tape, you just think it might be a line that you have to cut out, but in fact it is a series of individual petals on this roll of washi tape. So I can find the end. Here it is. So basically what you do is just peel off as many petals as you want There was some debate as to how many petals there are on a roll. So I've heard anything from 95 to 200. So I think it's a case of sitting down and, well, I don't know, perhaps I'll just work out how many I've done. I think somebody said they got sort of 25 to 30 flowers. Depends on how many petals you put on. So basically it's sticky all the way on the back. So you can stick it either to itself, like so, or what I did on this one was actually just stick it to a 3/4 inch circle. So I punched out a circle and stuck the petals onto it. They're very sticky, which is why they're sort of sticking to everything. And then I've added one of these centres. I don't know if you can see that. So these are our really pretty pressed petal centres. To make this really pretty flower. So when I made this card this morning, I'd made the flower to show the ladies a coffee and card, and it just occurred to me that that actually might look quite nice in the centre, so that's why it's now on the card. If you are making some of these and you don't want it too sticky, then what I did was I took an embossing buddy, having stuck that together, and then I just used the embossing buddy on the back of the flowers to stop them being so sticky. And I like the fact you can get a real sort of 3D effect. You can see through the petals as well to an extent, and obviously you can layer those up again. So if you wanted another layer, I'll just show you that you could do a layer on top, like so. Do one more. So they're really pretty. It comes as a pack of 2 washi tape. So this is one, and then the other one is like a vintage soft suede sort of printed I was going to say newspaper, but it's not really newspaper. But you get just a set of 2, and both washi tapes together are £7. So I think that's a really good deal. Let me just stick that on there a little bit, add a couple more just to show you. And obviously in the centre here you could put you could punch out a flower centre, or you could add one of our faceted gems in the middle. So basically as many petals as you want to make your flower. So you can see the difference between this one and this one here. So just really pretty. It does have matching papers to go with it, pressed petal papers. But that's the washi tape. So £7. I'll put the details in under the Facebook posting, and that's your finished flower. It just needs a little middle. As I say, I've picked out one of those. Yeah, and these are just so realistic looking as well, Babsy. Let's just peel that off a little bit. So you could put it in the centre of something. You could do a whole series of them sat on some designer paper, especially the pressed petals designer paper that has actually these flowers in it. You could also do something like we have here, but do a flower on either side, perhaps on a bigger card. It's a little bit big for that, really. So there we go. That's our new washi tape pressed petal. Say £7, and you get all of those. When I've done all the flowers I need, I'll tell you how many there were. I'm not going to peel every single one off and count, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. So there we go. That was today's coffee and card using Botanical Bliss. So this stamp set here, really useful. I do like the font as well. The happy birthday, especially for you, friend. These are lovely. I haven't really used that, but then I'm not a mandala sort of person, I'm afraid. I don't like that style, but I know a lot of people do, and that'd be great for colouring in. Also makes a nice sun. And Botanical Bliss itself does have matching dies that produce really pretty little borders. And you can use those for bookmarks or on cards, anything you want to really. So there we go, nice and simple for this week. Hopefully a bit quicker than it was last week. So these are the ones that I've just made here. As I say, this was stamped in Memento. This was done with the marker pens on the Stamparatus, stamping in the round. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you like the washi tape, hope you like the flowers, and we'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much indeed. Bye.